Welcome to your next best step. I'm Coach Janet J, and I am glad you're here with me on the last day of July. Today, we're talking about something that tends to show up early, the way August and even September can start pressing on you before it's even arrived. If part of you is already bracing for the fall, this one's for you. Let's take a breath and begin right there. It's the last day of July. There is still sunscreen by the door and a watermelon in the fridge. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice has already started a list for September. Here's the strange part. The version of fall you are dreading right now is almost never the version you actually live. Maybe you noticed it the way I did. Back to school email that landed in an inbox when it was 90 degrees outside. Supply lists, schedules, a sign-up form for something that does not happen until September. And I know my whole body went tight as if the long, slow days of summer had just been handed an expiration date. If you've been with me for a while, you may remember an earlier conversation about calendar creep. The way the squares on the calendar fill themselves in without anyone deciding they should. What we are talking about today is the emotional cousin of that. The calendar has not even filled in yet. The schedule is mostly empty, and yet the dread is already there. This reaches well past the women with school-aged kids at home. The teacher feels it. The grandmother about to be added to school pickups feels it. The ministry leader staring down a fall program feels it. The woman whose summer rhythm is about to end feels it, even with a house full of grown and gone children. Anyone whose life shifts gears in the fall knows this particular flavor of bracing. There's a line in the Psalms that reads as though it was written by someone who knew this feeling from the inside. Psalm 94, verse 19. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. What strikes me is the honesty. The psalmist names the anxiety plainly, great and within me. He tells the truth about how big it felt. And then he tells the truth about what met him inside it. Consolation, comfort that showed up while the anxiety was still in the room. That speaks straight to the woman bracing in the last week of July. The comfort does not wait until September to arrive. It's available right now, in the middle of the bracing, before a single thing on that mental list has actually happened. Here's what researchers have found about the gap between the fall you are imagining and the fall you will live. Two psychologists, Timothy Wilson and Daniel Gilbert, spent years studying something they called affective forecasting, which is just a term for how we predict our own future feelings. What they found again and again is that people are fairly good at guessing whether a future event will feel good or bad. Where we go wrong is the size of it. We overestimate how intense the bad feeling will be and how long it will last. They named it the impact bias. The thing we dread usually lands a little softer than the preview in our heads, and we find our feet faster than we expected. There's a reason for this. When you imagine fall, you pick the hardest moment, the chaos of the first morning, the lost shoe, the form you forgot, and your mind plays it on a loop with nothing else around it. Real life is never only that one moment. Real August or September even holds the coffee, the funny thing someone says in the car, the afternoon. It all still somehow goes fine. Your forecast leaves every bit of that out. And then there's the worry itself. In one 2020 study, people wrote down their specific worries and tracked what actually happened. More than 9 in 10 of those worries never came true. I want to be careful and honest with you about that number. That study followed a small group of people who had been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So the exact figure belongs to them, not all of us. The direction it points, though, is steady across research. Most of what we rehearse in dread does not arrive the way we picture it. And earlier work found that even when a feared thing did happen, people handled it better than they had predicted most of the time. So why am I bringing this to you now on the last day of July instead of the night before school starts? Because the dread is doing its work right now. It's borrowing a hard morning from a month that has not even happened yet and is charging you for it today. Every time that mental list runs, your body answers as though the thing is happening. In the lawn chair, in the pool line, on a perfectly fine day in July. You are doing what a colleague of mine used to call suffering future pain. The hopeful part is simple. The forecast is the thing that's off, which means the forecast is the thing you can answer. One small real action does what the imagined version never accounts for. It hands future you something solid to stand on. This touches all four pillars the way these things tend to. Mentally, you catch the forecast and question it. Is this the whole picture or only the worst frame? Emotionally, you can name the dread out loud, which tends to shrink it back to its real size. Physically, the bracing lives in your body, in the tight shoulders and the shallow breath. So a short walk or one long exhale tells your nervous system that nothing is actually on fire right now in July. And spiritually, you can bring the worry to God now, the way the psalmist did, and let consolation meet you in the middle of it. So here is your next best step. One forward-looking note to the woman you will be in August. Find a scrap of paper or open the Notes app on your phone. Picture yourself 2 or 3 weeks from now in the thick of fall ramp-up and write her one short note, something she will actually need to hear or know. It might be reassurance. You have done a first week before. You will find your footing by Friday. It might be a reminder of where help is. Text your sister. She offered. It might be one concrete kindness that you hand her. The coffee is already in the cabinet. Past you, bought it on purpose. Then leave it where she will find it. Tucked in the planner, taped inside a cupboard door, saved as a note titled with the first week of school. This works for a reason. The dread runs on a future with no support in it. A note is you reaching forward and placing one piece of support into that future on purpose. You are answering the forecast with evidence. Before you go, 3 things to carry with you into the rest of your day. The fall you are dreading is almost always rougher in the preview than in living. Your mind overestimates how bad it will be and how long it will last. The Psalms remind us that consolation can meet us inside the anxiety well before it passes. And your next best step, one short note to August you. A small piece of support placed in the future on purpose. On Monday, we step into August together. The first episode of a brand new month and a fresh place to set your feet. I would hate for you to miss it. Follow or subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so the next step of August lands right in your feed. I will see you Monday. Take your next best step.